with a wild morning. I was talking about finances the other day. Reason why I say what a wild morning, I'm actually leaving the courthouse right now. I actually got sued, civil, but crazy thing is, this is how you know in life you can never prepare sometimes for accidents that happen. Basically, I had to go to court today because I got sued for a credit card. A credit card that I used to have. And basically, I ended up falling into hard times due to an injury. The injury was me working on my property. I was up in my duplex and I was doing the kitchen. And I happened to go over my hand with a router. Anything can happen. Wasn't planned. Of course, it wasn't planned. Hit my hand with the router. Along with hitting the router, what's crazy part is, I thought I would only probably be out of work for maybe a month. I don't know why. In my head, I thought I was going to be out of work for maybe a month. It ended up becoming almost 4 months. I had to have surgery on my thumb, and the whole time, like I'm out of work, having surgery on my thumb. Before surgery, I went to the ER. ER ended up costing me a couple dollars. You know what I mean? Thanks to medical. So I ended up having stitches put in my thumb. Having stitches put in. And then when I had to have my thumb looked at, I ended up going to a specialist that specialized in torn ligaments. I did not know that my thumb was that bad. I knew it was bad, but I didn't think it was that bad. You know how sometimes you injure yourself and sometimes you think it's not that serious because you're like, I can move my thumb a little bit. But I noticed that the feeling in my thumb was a little crazy, a little wild. Like it wasn't a feeling that I experienced before. So make a long story short, I end up going into the hospital and having to have surgery, on my hand. It was cosmetic surgery. Well, not cosmetic, but it was outside. I had to go out of pocket. Medical paid for a certain percentage, very small percentage, but the rest I had to take on the chin. End up having to come out of pocket $1,000. Along with, I'm not being paid. So keep in mind, I'm not being paid. By me not being paid, I'm going to my savings. Mind you, this is my savings of making sure my mortgage is paid, making sure my son is good, all my essentials, food. Mind you, got to go grocery shopping, which means I'm going to have to limit my spending. My credit cards, I'm going to have to utilize. And basically, it's a chain reaction of just not knowing that you're going to end up hurting yourself. And next thing you know, you're out of work. You're out of commission. And it's crazy because when you're out of commission, things like this happen out of nowhere. Just when everything is going right, something ends up going wrong. And what's crazy is, when I hurt myself, I'm thinking I'm good because I'm thinking I can survive a month and a half or so. So make a long story short, by me being out for a month, I found out I'm going to be out a lot longer. When the doctor told me, hey, you're going to be out at least 3 months or more. And when he said that, I was like, oh, damn. So I'm looking at I'm basically looking at my job like, okay, what can I do? Like, what can I do to get paid? So when I go to my job, thank God that I end up paying into my medical. I think it's MLA or something like that. But even though I pay for that, it takes time for that to hit. So now I got to fill out paperwork. Along with filling out paperwork, I'm doing all these things, emailing HR, and the end result is I did not end up getting paid until I went back to work. Now, some people might look at this situation and say, yeah, you got paid. This is the whole thing. You get paid, but remember, you're living off of your money to survive for 4 months, basically 4 months. And those 4 months, I went through my money. And when I went back to work, I might have had maybe $150 in my account. Along with having $150 in my account, I had a relative, a cousin of mine, that came through for me, that looked out for me. Now, you look at situations like this. This is how easy your finances can go from your credit being good to everything running good. I'm doing my renovation. Mind you, I'm doing a renovation. I'm doing it myself. So that was a good thing. Another good thing that kind of worked in my favor of doing the renovation is I actually bought a lot of my products, a lot of my things that I need, a lot of items, the 4x4 and everything. I bought all this tile, bought everything towards the end of summer. So mind you, this injury happened in October. Luckily, I had all the stuff that I needed. But I also had to get my towel up the steps, so I had to use one arm. Most cases, and most people's, depending on what you got going on in your situation, they might just sit this one out and say, yo, I'm gonna rest, I'm gonna listen to the doctor. Me, I know I gotta get things done, and I can't sit around. So I used one arm, and I tied my other arm into a sling so I can make sure I don't make a mistake and grab anything with that hand, so I can rip the stitches out of my thumb before the surgery. So that's basically how I worked everything out. But in the long run, I basically fell on hard times just because of that situation, which is an eye-opener to know that you think sometimes you can prepare when you fall on hard times, but it's weird because things happen at the weirdest times, whereas though you cannot prepare for it. I'm not going to say that you can't, but in most cases, I already have money in the bank. I'm already able to pay my bills. I'm already able to take care of my son. I'm able to go ahead and do things with my son, go outside of my way to do activities with my son. All the things that you think that a good parent will be able to do is provide. But anything happens outside of that can change your whole perspective and your whole outcome, how your finances can go upside down. And that's what has exactly happened to me, how your finances can flip from good to bad. This is one of the reasons why it makes you actually have an eye-opener to really look at things differently, how you can fall on hard times. I used to always be like, damn, you got a job. There's no way you could have fell on just hard times if you just keeping up with your bills. But what I realize is, two, credit cards can be utilized in a good way, but this is how it can turn out bad for you. If you end up like me, getting injured or getting sick, in some people's cases, some people get sick. Getting sick or just getting injured, anything can happen that can put you out of commission. If you don't have any income coming in, things are going to spiral out of control because now your funds are being used to basically pay the bills that you already accumulated, that you already had in the cycle of just paying your mortgage, paying your car note, car insurance, whatever you was doing before. But if you stop and you have to live off of that money, now you got that. Now strategize. And there's only but so much strategizing you can do, which means you're going to have to stop payment on a lot of things that's not going to really help you out at that time. And credit cards is most likely going to be the first thing that you stop on. You got to eat, so you're still going to eat, but you're going to have to limit your budget on how much money you spend on groceries. That's why it makes me really sit back and realize how easy people can fall on hard times. Because not many times in my life I fell on hard times. I fell on hard times before, but I was able to get myself out of it. But getting yourself out of it is a lot of times you being able to have a little bit more control. In this case, I had no control because I was out of commission. And in some people's mind, go get a part-time job. No, that's not how that works. You can't do that. You can't. You can play yourself and do it, but come on. Get a part-time job and you out of work for about almost 4 months. You ain't going to be able to supplement your income quick enough and get hired quick enough. That's why, that's why I take my hat off to anybody that's going through it today when it comes to this financial state of mind. Financial state of mind is good, but when you out of commission, it's nothing you can really do but just... I just take my hat off to you. I don't really know an out. It's really not an out when you actually do still have a job and you're going back to it. Only out you have is hopefully you can pray and hopefully you had at least 6 months saved up. That's another thing. You could be 6 months saved up, but then at the same time, 6 months saved up is pretty good. But what if you fall into a situation where as though you end up like today, how cancer is running rampant? That 6 months can turn into nothing. 6 months went to, I'm not going to say it went to waste, but 6 months to give you a leeway. But also, it does give you a different perspective of what can happen in the world today. So now I just have a different mindset now. I don't do anything extra when it comes to doing any type of hard labor. If it's for me, I'm going to do it. But this injury happened because of me. And it was for me. So, but it made me also be a lot more cautious and careful of how I operate when I'm operating with tools. And know when to call it quits. And that's really how my injury happened. I was working on my property too long. I was working. I got up at 5 in the morning. 5 in the morning, I'm sorry to tell you, anybody that sleep their day away, you're not going to get a lot done. I was trying to get a lot done. And I was getting the kitchen done. I remodeled the whole kitchen, gutted the whole kitchen. And in the midst of gutting that kitchen, I was working on there from 5 in the morning. Get up in the morning, I make my son breakfast. He's not even up yet. He's normally getting up around like 6 something in the morning. At that time, he's 5 now. At that time, he was about 3 and a half. No, he's about 4. About 4. And, so, and I end up getting up early in the morning. And then next thing you know, he gets up and I'm like, hey, I got your breakfast ready. He's up in the other apartment. He gets his breakfast. He does his thing. And I'm working throughout the day. He's coming from one apartment. He's coming up. I made an opening where he's able to come. It's crazy. He's able to come through and come check up on me. And I'm able to come check up on him. Then I also got walkie-talkies. Toy walkie-talkies, but they was real walkie-talkies. And we able to talk back to each other. So he just called me and said, hey, Dad, I'm just checking up on you. Tell you something. Doing these things with your kids, they never forget. So my son knows about renovation. He knows how to do stuff. I don't let him do it, but he tries to help me. I let him carry stuff. But make a long story short, let me just get back to it. So that same day, as I'm working throughout the day, we said we was going to go get cookies. He wanted to go and get cookies. These cookies that are homemade and they come out of an oven. So we was going to get that. Now, mind you, think about this. I've been working since 5 in the morning. All day. It's now like 3 o'clock. I'm looking at the time. But remember, when you doing work, and it's work for yourself, and it's work to make money, you making money off your own product, it doesn't seem like work. Time goes like this. But it's one of the reasons why you do have to have cutoff times. No matter what. Reason why you got to have a cutoff time is because up here, your brain is still wired to say, keep going. But your body starts to wear down. And as it starts to wear down, it starts to make your brain fatigue because your brain is keeping you going. Your mental state of mind, you just like, yo, I'm going. But mentally, your brain starts to trigger your body to say, damn, I'm fatigued. Like you're not operating right, but you're still working. Think about that. You're still working. But you are not socially thinking correctly, because towards the end of the day, it's around 6 o'clock in the evening now. And eventually, you're not even thinking clearly. You're doing stuff and you're cutting corners, not realizing now you're rushing because it's towards the end of the night and now you're fatigued. And that's how the injury happened.